I started doing these videos because I took a photo of a temple once. That temple's name is K-pop, K-H-P-O-P. And it never showed really what was going on. I mean, it was just a temple in a photo. When the real story and the excitement is getting there. And look at this. This is the jungle that surrounds the temple complex known as Chrap, an abandoned city, no less. And in these very jungles, there still lays landmines. And the first thing I learnt of this lost city was that, well, you better tread carefully. A lot of the landmines have been cleared, but not all of them. And who put those landmines here? Well, it was the Khmer Rouge, because these kind of temples and these hubs is where they would flock to. I mean, why wouldn't you? If you're going to meet your pals, where do you meet them? We'll meet you by the temple complex. And of course, what a great place to store your ammunition and so on. And I wanted to take you on this brief walk because it is an awful lot of travelling, not just a brief walk, to get to a break in a wall such as this one here. And when one clambers in, you are rewarded for all your work, because have a look at this. Here stands three giants in the middle of an abandoned ancient city, in the middle of a humid jungle somewhere in Asia. So, imagine what it's like. You do an awful lot of planning. You've got an awful lot of packing, a lot of equipment, and everything needs to be recharged. Absolutely everything is in order and everything must work just perfectly, because after all, I'm out on my own. Then I come across a wall, maybe a walk through a bit of a jungle, and there's a break in the wall. And occasionally I get to a point where everything changes. Now in this case, the point was about here, because behind me are three absolutely Herculean temples that just took my breath away. We are oddly at the back of them. The front is fantastic as well. But in my journeys, I get to certain points and a level of calm just takes me over. Now, I'm not a religious person and I don't know why this is, but this spot here just speaks to me. There's these three enormous towers that seem to project calm with their might. And for me to show you what I'm talking about when I say the word enormous, I'm going to have to walk away from you, my dear. Now, how small have I become? Because I'm about to get an awful lot smaller. I mean, look at these things. And keep in mind, I am in an abandoned ancient city and I'm the only person here. It's a big city. It was the city of the king, Jayavarman IV. And this incredible ancient wonder seems to be here at the moment just for myself. I mean, look at it. It's honestly, it's just heart-stoppingly beautiful in a wall. Now here, I guess, would have been a gateway or a doorway. But the thieves have taken it because, as I've mentioned in other videos, because of the remoteness of this abandoned ancient city, is the thieves could plunder away to their heart's content, knowing very well they wouldn't be disturbed. So they did a real number on this town. Anything that they could grab obviously has gone. Now, the vast majority of that would be statues. and there must have been tens of thousands of them throughout the whole country and region that were stolen. Here, certainly hundreds. And some of them potentially could have been absolutely enormous, because what I'm thinking is, if you've got these huge recesses here, and it would have been the same here, and we have a temple which we know was dedicated to Shiva, for an inscription that was found here tells us that, then there's only one thing that could go in here and the other recesses, and that is a statue. Now, I'm bewildered. I am absolutely dumbstruck as to what is going on here. It honestly doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll amplify this by qualifying it. And what I mean by that is, I promise you, I will never lie to you. I won't make things up to make a video more interesting, because I don't care. I care only about my passion. And if other people enjoy it and want to come along for the ride, then please do. I love having you along. And all those people that comment, thank you so very much. And of course, the very few patrons I have, your love really makes this possible. And I would never betray that by amplifying or just, I wouldn't do it. But I will always say what I feel. And what I feel is utter confusion. How the hell is this possible? I mean, what we're looking at here is the shell, the box, shall we say. But we can tell by the size of the box how big the object was that was in the box. And allow me to go a bit further here. Because if this recess is for a statue, which makes sense, because look at the way it grades like that going up. And look at the way I framed this. I have put the bottom of the frame, the image you're seeing, right at the bottom here. The top of the frame is right at the top there. I'm not cheating. I never would. So in here, I believe, would go a statue. Now, this is why I'm so bally confused. How big were these things? I mean, really? I mean, my head has stopped working at this point. I am absolutely bamboozled by the dimensions here. Now, obviously, we have a consideration, and that is engineering. Because with engineering, one can do all sorts of things. You see, what I would do is I would work out that building a statue is unbelievably labour intensive. And transporting one piece of stone that's that size is pretty much impossible. So I would break it down into sections. I would have a nice big tall base, and then I'd put another layer on top, maybe something a bit ornate, to lift the thing up, and then maybe a little conical affair, and then the statue on top. Then you've elevated the whole thing. You've made it look that much more impressive, but from an engineering point of view, you've made it that much easier to create and to transport. And if one of those parts fail, it doesn't mean the whole thing fails. That is just good thinking. And we know that the guys that built such things as this were no fools, and they had a lot of experience. But you've got to admit, holy mother of God, it is huge. So here they stand, the mighty trilogy. And it's only fair that we go and have a look at each and every one, just briefly, to get it on the record. I haven't fallen in love with a temple this hard for so long. I am absolutely blown away. I mean, look at the surroundings. Look at the might of these things. Feel the solitude of being able to have such a place all to yourself. It really is an incredible experience. And now this is the one in the center. This is where I was standing just a moment ago. And there's details in your screen you may not be picking up. Look at these posts here. You see? These are approximately 11 plus feet long. They were part of a doorway that would have gone here. And here is where I was standing just a moment ago. And at the top you can see how it narrows inward. So it's dung, dung, dung. And here it's even clearer. And that makes sense, doesn't it? If you've got an almighty statue here, it would narrow at its head. And now to our final tower. Now this one has a little bit of a tale all of its own, and it's a little bit sad, and I will try not to dwell on it too much. And it is already in your screen, and it is here and on the other side. These are 4 paws, as these are, and these are a lot clearer, because the complete gibbering idiots and mental monkeys of malice who did this damage couldn't be bothered to take this up. They just hacked it off at the paws. And it's that kind of thing that makes me rather sad. But the mighty temple still stands. And here is the third and final one. And by no means is it any less impressive than the others. I mean, it's just amazing. I have this ancient city literally all to myself. And every time I get on that bike and I head off down those dusty roads, I never know what I'm going to get. And my goodness, my dreams have come true this time. But how do you make dreams come true? Well, I've got the answer for you. There's only one way, and that is to stop doing what you normally do. You need to do something different, and it is exceedingly trying, trust me. I mean, I'm traveling around a country that, shall we say, is financially challenged. It does not have the resources that you take for granted. It is so trying sometimes, I'm left screaming. But today, and this trilogy of temples, is why I take on that task. Because the rewards are better than gold. I now have a memory that can never be taken away from me, and one I can call my own. I did this. Nobody else did it. I did it. And I did it today. And today will always have a little place in my head as a golden memory, a dream that came true. And I'm not saying I'm special, of course not. I'm just a man with a rather excellent taste in hats. You can make your dreams come true. So I ask you, today, don't do what you normally do. Do something different, no matter what it is, anything. Just make it a bit different. Mix up the recipe, see how it tastes. This has been Mr. B, who is now deeply in love with these chaps, saying to you, please like, subscribe and comment, and if possible, A few coins in the old coffers to help me build this library would be greatly appreciated. And that's achieved by going to patreon.com/temples. Until next time, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. Do take good care.